nutrition, and fitness. So much so that soon we'll all be significant home gym owners.
If you can, there we go. So I'm starting to lay the flooring down. It's
Oh man.
not focusing too well. There's a curl bar sitting right there. So yeah, shout out to the Fitness Depot, Marietta, Georgia. I went there today. I know we had talked about them. Super helpful. Loaded a bunch of plates in my car and some gym flooring, and they're like, if this is too much, you can bring it back, and it is too much, I think. So like, I've got pieces I don't need. So yeah, I got a curl bar, some plates. If I could fit the actual Olympic bar in my car, I would have gotten one of those too. But like, yeah, my rack's on the way. My adjustable dumbbells are on the way in the mail. My barbell's on the way. So yeah, I'm getting close.
Dude, who'd you order a barbell from?
X mark.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I was looking up the Boneyard bars the other day, like I referred to you before. They have minimal blemishes on, and it's like blemish like a scuff or something. It's something that they can't sell as if it was like completely brand new, something that some uh, person that doesn't realize that they'll probably ding up their own equipment would send back. So that's how they get mismatched. But that's awesome, though. I'm glad. I'm excited for you.
I
Um,
am too. So I'm hoping like maybe a couple of weeks because like I'm not putting it together myself. So like I'm either gonna find somebody who'll put it together for me or like put like Angie's List or something. Cause I'm sure as hell not doing it because the reviews I've seen for the rack are like, yeah, 3 hours if you know what you're doing. So I'm like, all right, 3 weeks for me. So
it
because I
is,
do not like puzzles. So if I can't solve it with a brute force, I'm not doing it. And I don't feel like it's a very safe way to have a
yeah.
functional squat rack in my apartment.
I know you don't do a lot of DIY stuff, and that's kind of the other problem is that you would need some hand tools to.
Oh, I mean, I have the tools. I
Oh,
have
okay.
them. I just don't use them. That's
I have no idea how they work. Is this a wrench or a hammer? It could be both.
it's like people look at me and they assume that I know how to put stuff together, just like they look at me and they assume I know cars. So it's really good when I go to the mechanic because like they don't try to screw me out of shit. But because they're like, yeah, you're good. Like like especially like I drive a Dodge Challenger, so people look at me like white trash looking. They're like, yeah, what? Hey, what's under the hood? And I'm like, fucking engine? I don't know. Like
It
it
goes
goes
fast.
yeah, it goes vroom vroom like and it looks cool. Like I don't know.
Oh man. So I haven't gotten this off my mind, so I'm going to talk about it now. I am the non-compliant client.
Yeah.
So I had labs drawn today, so the day of this podcast, that say that I have not been following all the recommendations that I make to people on this podcast. So essentially, I need to improve my sleep. Um,
I could have told you that. But
we know
like
each other.
but I feel like you like anybody who's a parent, like that's yeah, it's a pipe dream, I think, for most parents. But yeah, especially with children the age of your children. But yeah.
Yeah, like what do you want to do? Do you want to get sleep and do all the things outside of the sleep that you're intending to do and trying to do and provide for your family and all those things, or does it actually not matter? Oh, I know. Sorry, there's like we got a new drying rack, so it's over there. It's like, what the hell is
See,
that?
I just had blood work done recently. I feel like we should just like compare blood work.
Maybe yours is amazing. You know, it was disappointing for me. This is going to be comical on this podcast. My testosterone was normal. I was a little disappointed. This is
You were hoping low, so they would put you on stuff.
it's like, it's within the normal range. This is crap. It's like all this other stuff that I wanted to be normal is not, but this one thing that I was like, hopefully it'll be abnormal. Let's not. Oh man. Yeah, I was just like, well, that's weird. There's plenty of other things that are in there where it's like, is this genetics? Because I still eat the same amount of like fruits and vegetables that I recommend for everybody, but the other things are kind of just really weird. So I don't know. Maybe it's cancer. Who knows?
That's always fun.
It's
Wow, what
the
was your white blood cell count low? Like what?
no, no,
Like
no. My
what?
complete blood count was normal. Like I didn't have any of those things. Like it was all like my heart stuff was all kind of like a little wonky, but that's kind of to be makes sense to have a paternal history of heart disease. So kind of like, those
Yeah,
numbers look like I'm in line for a statin.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I don't think we've probably talked about it a little bit on the podcast before. I know we have personally, like my shitty genetics. So yeah, I definitely am always very invested in my blood work. My blood work most recently actually looked really good. So white blood cell count was slightly high, but I feel like I maybe have had an infection right before that. Makes sense. And then like potassium was slightly high for whatever reason. But I never do blood work completely fasted because I'm like, unless you're going to take me into the office at 5 a.m., I'm not going in fasted. Screw you. Like
yeah.
I'm hungry.
So
Like I'm getting work.
yeah,
Like if I'm getting blood work done at 9:30, I'm getting workout in before I'm coming in, and I'm not doing that fasted because we've talked about fasted cardio. Go listen to that episode. So no, like you're not getting me fasted for blood work unless you get me like as soon as I'm on waking. So
yeah. My lab draw was at 7:30 in the morning, so it's as early
so
as I
yeah,
can
so
possibly
yeah,
do it.
yeah, that I could probably handle. Like all right, I'm taking the day off the gym. I'll roll out of bed at 7. Get to the get to the
Yeah,
lab and
and
we're good.
so I was kind of like, this is all strange. But those are things that I have been thinking about as I've been checking my lab work all day long, like pulling it up and like, is this resulted? Is this resulted? Is this resulted? So in that, to improve your heart related lab values, so like triglycerides, HDL, LDL, there's a lot.
Keto, all keto, right? Like
Oh man. I'm trying to make my labs go the other direction, not the
I
direction
want,
they're
I want,
currently
I want,
trending.
I want a total cholesterol of 500. Like, keto.
So, woo, hypertriglyceridemia. Um, I was thinking about it. I was like, I should get a heart scan done, just to see where, like, is there anything that's blocking there? No, it would be good. It would be good to know. I'm 38, so I'm old enough to
I,
know.
I, I did used to have a primary care that he'd always do like an EKG and stuff, like just for like the physical. Like he was the only one I've ever had. I was like, okay, this is cool. Like I'm glad my insurance is covering it, but I don't feel like it's completely necessary. But it was nice to go, okay, my heart's functioning properly.
Yeah, when I first, so this is comical because I went to the PCP visit last week, and then today was the lab draw day. Um, when I first got in, my blood pressure was like through the roof. And the funny thing with it, I told the girl taking my blood pressure, I was like, this isn't how you're supposed to take it. I need to be sitting
Oh my
differently.
dear
And
God.
she's like, it's okay. I just got to
Oh.
take it real quick. I was like, no, 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 like it's going to be too high because of the way that I'm sitting here. And so then she put it in, and I was like, that's definitely not normal. I was like, and so I went and I sat down in a chair on the floor, my feet not dangling, my feet flat, my arm not crunched up, like
Your,
all
your,
those
your arm
things.
actually heart level, like yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then the doctor checked it at towards the end of the visit, and it was like stellar. She's like, oh, it's actually really good. She's like, that's crazy, the shift there. And I was like, my arm was like way down here. My legs were just dangling in the air. There's nothing supporting them. Like the blood
No,
flow
God,
isn't.
yeah. When I donated blood like 6 months ago, I had yeah, like they like literally it's like I rushed in there and they were like, "That's for your blood now, like blood pressure now." Like they had my arm just hanging down, but like she's like, you're really high, but like we'll let you donate. You're right at the cutoff." I'm like, if you took my fucking blood pressure the correct way, I'd be fine. Like,
Yeah. But to be fair, though, EKG good for the electric activity in the heart, right? That would not be an appropriate indicator, something that's like blocking,
right.
like I mean, all right. So that would be more. That's kind of where the heart scan would come in, and you also get a good like calcium score off of your actual heart scan. because you don't want to have the calcium score for the calcification of your veins and arteries. But so if you want to improve all of your stuff, I do know what I'm talking The problem is that I'm like the worst practitioner of like all the stuff that I know.
But no, like so I think that's a really good point that like if we go by the current trend of like influencers, like so like typically, you see somebody jacked, like, well, I want to do what he's doing because it works for him, muscles. Like so like by my most recent lab work, clearly everything I'm doing is 100% correct. So like listen to me on everything. Like, that's not necessarily the case. Do listen to everything because like I do have the training for it, but like like so what? Like so what if somebody's genetics are good or if they've managed to like screw the system and figure
Yeah.
out how to do it.
Or what if they're not telling you any of the medications that they're on that are making all those things look normal, right? So there's one of those things. But sleep, 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 sleep. Can't talk about it enough. I said it before in this podcast that I don't sleep enough as it is, and it's something that I have to fix. And this is a clear indicator of something I need to fix. And then that would probably fix like
Oh God,
90% of the things that are wrong
just
on mine.
just anecdotally, like the last like 4 years for me, I really started improving my sleep hygiene and like everything else is falling into place. Like the energy's there, like recovery's better, like hunger's better. It's everything. Like if you get like a good, and it's so hard to do because like I started mine during the pandemic. And so it was very easy to have like a wind down time, a bedtime, wake up time. Obviously now, like it's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit more varied, but still, like trying to hold on to that, it makes it so much better. And like I get irritated all the time, like scrolling social media and like the grind culture of having side hustles and all this stuff. And like I sleep 3 hours a night. I'm like you're a moron. Like the stuff you could do if you get a full 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep a night, like you're gonna feel like a totally different human being.
Yeah. And let's see. If I pull up the health thing on mine, I can tell you real fast what my average hours of sleep has been recently, which is, like I
Oh
said, I know
God,
it's not
this is
good.
probably gonna be scary.
Right? Yeah. Like, my average amount of sleep is right at 6 hours.
Oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. All right, like I'm
Five
actually
5 hours and 54 minutes is the average. So, but as I've mentioned before, if you are male, you really should be getting at least 7 hours of sleep a day.
yeah,
Right. So,
I aim for 8. I usually end up with around 7. My
yeah. And
favorite thing to do though is like I get up like between 5 and 6 depending on the day, and so I love when I have like friends who've like messaged me and texted me at like 1 in the morning, so I make sure to respond to their text at 5. Um,
you should, as you should. Matt has messaged me at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
Five, five,
yeah.
5.
Sometimes I'll message you when I get to the gym. Like that's when I respond to you.
Yeah, which is perfectly fine. I'm awake already. And I'm not worried about it. But I also don't message Matt like after 10 o'clock.
I was gonna say I'm not messaging you back to be a dick like I am to other friends. So, like,
Unless it's like on a weekend, if it's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, not necessarily Sunday, but Friday, Saturday, I know that Matt's will probably awake at 10 o'clock because
yeah.
of all the things that he does outside. So if I send him a message, I know that's not waking him up.
I'm typically in the middle of like a wrestling match going, guys, like my bedtime's 10 o'clock. Why am I out here? I need to be.
Yeah, I should have been first. Why am I in the main? But yeah, so sleep, that's one. I have to increase my physical activity goal. I know I've talked about this in the last several weeks that it's only one time a week. That's really not gonna cut it going forward. I have plans to do the Murph on Memorial Day. I've been posting about that on our social
Right.
media stuff. So I did get a uh, vest off of Amazon. I'll post it on social media stuff. That is, it's just a cheap weight vest, but it doesn't have any weights in it. And I got it because I found a DIY way to use cardboard and just zip tie a weight plate that I already have into it, so it doesn't shift around. I know people think that's weird, but I'm not doing a ton of workouts with a weight vest. Like the plates in a weight vest are more than a 45 plate for my barbell. Like, what am I gonna do with that? It doesn't make sense. Um, so I need to increase my workouts to be more frequent, and I need to um, manipulate the strength and cardiovascular work in there. I
And
don't
see,
like I don't like to do lots of cardiovascular things anymore. Not a huge fan.
I don't think most male strength athletes do. Like, so like this is where I think it's fun as a practical application that like if I'm working with you, if you're a client of mine, you just gave me a plethora of stuff to work. Like and I feel like that you are a lot of the clientele that we work with and a lot of the clientele of like anybody that works in the health, fitness, nutrition realm. So I would choose to pick one of those right now and that have be your goal for like the next probably 4 to 8 weeks. Like,
Right.
because it's overwhelming. Like, just it's overwhelming to me when you say like if I'm thinking about if I have to work on my sleep, I have to like get more get more exercise in. Like, I have to vary my workouts. Okay, cool. Let's focus on one of those. Probably my first thing that I would do for you is like let's focus on sleep because like let's say we start this like fantastic kick-ass like strength training cardio routine for you and you're doing it if you're not getting the recovery there and you're sleeping 3 4 5 because like let's say you're starting to do that so like you're not really working out consistently right now so you don't have time in your day right now and I know a lot of people will like shit on that and go oh there's time no, you don't have time you do not have time right now so we're gonna have to make that time so the only time that's going to come out from you right now is either away from your family which you're probably not going to sacrifice or away from your sleep so then now instead of sleeping 6 hours a night you're going to sleep 4 or 5 and then we're gonna like bust your ass in the gym. And so you're not recovering and you're just gonna feel like shit and it's gonna be counterproductive. So if I'm coaching you, and so hey, come sign up for your free meet and greet, let me coach you. Uh I'm working on your sleep hygiene first. Like that's going to be your first thing. With like that's going to lead to a better workout. It's going to lead to better nutrition because I know for me, just anecdotally, like if I don't get a lot of sleep, the first thing I'm doing is just sitting there, just mindlessly munching on stuff to stay awake. Like I know we've in the past like wrestling together. Like you're sitting there munching on food at 2 o'clock in the morning just to stay awake on a drive. Like so,
Yeah.
focusing on your sleep hygiene above all, and like get that in the way so that way the recovery is going to be there when we start a more strenuous exercise.
Right. And that's where I was going with all of my issues that I've been having. I, similarly to what Matt is just suggesting, I don't think trying to work on everything at once is going to be good at all. I think it'll inevitably make me fail somewhere on all of those things. And then in my mind, even though I know where I can fix it, I would feel like I failed, and that's going to make me less likely to try and attempt it again or come
Yeah,
up with a
what's
perfect solution.
what's the Ron Swanson quote from Parks and Rec? Like, don't half-ass multiple things, full-ass one thing. Like,
Well,
yeah,
that's one thing, right?
yeah, I think that's fantastic. Yeah.
And if I was a franchise nutrition and fitness client, that you can sign up for your free meet and greet at franchisenf.com, and I started working with us, one of the things that I would tell me is yes, all of that's great. Keep with the one workout a week. Do what you can. Keep with the nutrition that you are. We'll fix your sleep. When your sleep is better, we'll be able to come up with a better plan after this. Because your body does so much activity when you're sleeping that you don't even realize. Like it helps bring all those things back to normal. I was laughing about it with my wife yesterday. She's like, because we were talking about modification of lifestyle changes has so many impacts and stuff. Because I was joking about my testosterone, like, oh, if it's low, keep it on some test. And she said, she's like, or you could just make lifestyle modifications and it would actually improve your testosterone. Like,
But no,
Yes.
going back to our last podcast, why would you want to make lifestyle modifications when you can just take a GLP-1? Like that's the
Right.
same thing, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's just jump on all this other stuff. Um, but that would be the place to start with anybody out there. Like if you are thinking about franchise nutrition fitness for your nutrition and fitness goals, but your sleep is out of whack, just know we're probably going to start there. There might
and
be
like
some other things that we make some big swaps out, like we talked about before in the last podcast. Like if you swap a regular soda for a diet soda, you're going to lose close to 2 pounds in a week, in 2 weeks, but or 1 pound in 2 weeks. Sorry, but if you can fix your sleep, that's going to do so much with all of the other things that you may not even realize that you needed another Coke. You may not need another full calorie soda in your day. You might
Yeah,
just get water.
you hit on like so many points of stuff I believe in wholeheartedly. Like obviously number one, sleep. We've talked about that over and over again. And I really think that what differentiates us from a lot of other programs, like even programs that I've worked for before, is they'll throw a lot of stuff at you at one time. And then it's very hard. Like even if you come in like super motivated, and we've had clients both come in super motivated. It's like, yeah, I do want to work on the sleep, and I do want to get 5 workouts out a week, and I do want to cut out all the sodas and do this and that. And then it's very easy to get burned out like 2 weeks in, and like, well, I don't want to do any of this now. But like where we excel is like we're going to start out that very just accomplishable goal. We're going to work on something. Like it may just be like, hey, turn off the TV an hour before bed, or maybe like, hey, like create a wound down routine, or don't hit the snooze button like every day this week, something small like that to build, because those small changes lead to big changes. Like if you get those small little goals, like it's going to lead to the larger goal. Those small little achievable habits are going to be what leads you to that goal. Like habits over outcomes over goals, like those habits lead to it.
Yeah. If I made a pyramid, like not the food pyramid, which was terribly unsuccessful, but a pyramid of lifestyle things, I would put sleep at the base of the pyramid.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I
Like,
think for most people they put it at the very tippy top, even if on the pyramid. I think for a lot of people in the fitness and nutrition realm, it's irrelevant to them, which is insane.
yeah. Although maybe, if I had to think about all the hierarchical things, I'd put religion on the bottom and then sleep right above it. But like the um for those, Matt doesn't do any DIY things. So for those of you out there that know how like foundation work exists, religion would be like,
I know you have to have a foundation for anything you build. That's why
no, 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 no. I'm not
that's
talking
what
about the
that's why I showed the map. I know what you're saying.
I'm not talking about the foundation of something. I'm talking about underneath it. You have to put like gravel and a vapor barrier. Religion would be like that long, thin line underneath it
Well,
that goes
so
across the whole thing.
you're saying I've got to pull up my flooring and put gravel under it. Gotcha. All right, like that's gonna be the podcast next week.
That helps with water drain away. Then you put a vapor barrier over it, and then you drop your concrete. But this is a
My
different talk.
leasing office is gonna come in and go, "What the hell did you do for just putting gravel in?"
I needed a good foundation, man.
Ryan
Uh,
told me to.
yeah, yeah. So like that's not always done anymore. Sometimes now they just make sure it's like the ground is compact and they just put the vapor down and then put the concrete on top of it. But I'm just saying that thin line that's underneath the concrete foundation that everybody knows about, that would be the religion undertone line. And then sleep would be on top of it. Boom. Like sleep would be the concrete that sits on top of the vapor barrier of religion. Religion protects you, everything, and then this concrete, sleep. And then, like your house structures, your fruits and vegetables, and your strength training, and then to help sure that you have adequate electricity and conductivity pieces through all of it. That's your cardiovascular work through all there, how to make a person into a house. But when you start with franchise NF, that's where we begin, is building the foundation to help you be successful with everything that's on top of it. Because if you don't have a good foundation, nothing else is going to be successful. It's all going to fall apart. But long story short, I have to work on my sleep, and then maybe these podcasts will get better.
Blame it on the sleep. All right, cool.
Oh man. I did order my own personal copy of Atomic Habits, so I start working on that. Read through it again with a highlighter.
Uh,
How many copies
uh,
does it say on your book? Like it says, has a little gold circle that says
over 4 million copies sold.
mine says over 10 million.
Oh,
So
mine's super old.
I don't
Are
know
you
how old.
are yours is lying? Like,
Yeah, yeah. One of the two. Um, but yeah, right here. Over 10 million copies
oh,
sold.
all right.
Yeah. It's nuts. I mean, way to go, James Clear. But
No kidding. I want to write a book that gets 2 million copies sold. So
but either way,
that's
like we
shit I'm already doing.
like we say every week, maximize every bite.
Maximize every room.